What's up, guys? Keyshawn G here, back at you with another part two of OT Universe video. This will be part two of What If I Was a Villain. Now, I was looking at the old video trying to see where I left off, and pretty much where we left off was pretty much Naruto. Well, pretty much I was telling Haku to go to the Leaf Village and meet Naruto, and pretty much train him and be his you could say using tool, you could say. Which she agrees, and she starts going, which I made a grin saying this should be fun. Now, without further ado, let's get back to new parts. Now, pretty much after the whole talk with Haku pretty much went and started heading to the Leaf Village. Now, this is where I start to pretty much go into a place or teleport to a place, and I start to teleport to this laboratory. Now, this laboratory has a lot of, you could say, test subjects and stuff, which they all look and they smell as this Lord Keyshawn, which they all run up and hugs me, and I start giving them a rub on the head, saying, "Hello, my little subjects," which they pretty much just smile and grin. This is where one of them pretty much is coming up, walking close to me, and pulls, pretty much jump up and pulls my ear when I say, "Ow!" But she pretty much says, "Where have I been?" I was supposed to take him out, which pretty much I smile and says, "Right, let's go out." Now, as that's happening, this is where we switch back to another person, kind of as a kid version of me. You could say Kid Keisha. Now, this is where I'm walking in the infirmary and pretty much going up to Sasuke, which this is where Ninja's saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's in a coma, which I pretty much tap my forehead and I wake him up from it, which Sasuke wakes up and he begins to breathe real hard and begins to start shedding tears and clenches his fists and have a more bigger cold now. This to pretty much kill someone, kill a new target, not to kill Itachi anymore because no, Itachi is not the one he wants to kill now. It's Kishan Uchiha. Which this is where he says he willing to sacrifice his own pride and his vengeance to kill his brother. He needs his brother help and he needs to find him fast. Which this is where he sees me and I look exactly same like Kishan Uchiha. Well, this other person looks the same, like exactly like Kishan Uchiha. You could say the kid version of Kishan, but Sasuke doesn't know. This is where Kid Kishan begins to talk to Sasuke and says, "Um, I was here. I was here to get you out of the coma because they said that there would be a reward for it." Which Sasuke says, "So you came here for only the reward?" "No, not only that. I wanted to see if my power can really help you." Which Sasuke stayed quiet about, and you could say observed Kid Kishan. This is where I walk up to Naruto, heals him up, which Naruto looks at me and he's about to attack, but he realized that I look like him, but I'm not. And then this is where I pretty much tell him that do they want to get stronger and do they want to get their revenge, which they both look and they agree that they want to get stronger. Which this is where Kid Kishan gets on Team 7 by Lord Hiruzen changing it around. And Naruto has, well, you could say one Sharingan and also another eye implanted in him and some different things. Now, this is where Naruto is pretty much walking and pretty much going to get some training in. Well, this is where Haku comes in and he pretty much comes to Naruto and takes off her mask and pretty much kisses him on the lips, which Sasuke blushes and look away, which I definitely look at both of them and smile, which this is where Haku explains herself and says that she's here to be by his side and train him and stuff, and be there at his every need to get stronger, which this is where Naruto is smiling, saying, huh, right, okay. And they begin to start training. This is where Kakashi comes in and sees his new person, well, the new person who's a part of Team 7, but also see Naruto and Sasuke is training their hardest. I'm pretty much helping them out by being their training partners. I'm pretty much fighting them with kicks and stuff. This is where Kakashi comes in and says, "Hey, I just wanted to See if y'all okay. Which this is where Sasuke says he's okay, and this is where Kakashi says, "Do y'all want to be up the ranks to get a little bit stronger?" Which Naruto and Sasuke both agrees because now they're hungry for power to get stronger and stuff. So this is where Kakashi offers them the Chunin exams and saying that are they all ready? Which he definitely looks at me and I look and I give him a smile on the face. Now this is where Kakashi pretty much gives them the first test, including me, and I pass it, and we all pass it with ease, and we goes up to the second test. This is where we see the Genjutsu, and then we go up to another. This is where Sasuke and Naruto is pretty much just thinking of what is the next test going to be, while I'm pretty much just chilling and reading my book. This is where Rock Lee challenges pretty much uh, me into the fight because he can sense my fighting spirit, which I pretty much say, I don't think you want the smoke Lee, which he pretty much says, no. I said, use any genjutsu, I will defeat you, which I pretty much say, okay then, if you say so. I pretty much open up my eyes and then closes them. And then open them up again. It shows the Galaxy Sharingan eyes, which I pretty much say, I hope you're ready to fight because I'm going to defeat you. Which this is where Rock Lee says, let's go. And he pretty much tried to go for a blitz. This is where I catch his Rock Lee leg. I pretty much punch him in the throat and then knock him, grab his face and slam him to the ground. This is where, of course, he gets up and he goes for another speed kick, which I pretty much do a roadhouse kick, kicking him into the wall and knocking him out, which I pretty much say, you almost had me, but you're not strong enough. Which I pretty much tell them to come on, which Sasuke and Naruto is really surprised is shocked of how strong I am. Without even giving my full power, you could say. Now, after that, this is where we go to the cheating test. I pretty much just use my technique to mind transfer, or just mind transfer, to talk to them with Radio Rave to tell them what answers to give, and they pretty much did that. Now, this is where we get to the next part, and this is where we're at the Forest of Death arc. Now, of course, this is where, as I'm going, I pretty much tell them I'll be going, and I come back, which this is where I go meet up with Orochimaru. Now, this is where I talk to Orochimaru. I says, Orochimaru, you know what's the deal, right? Which pretty much Orochimaru agrees upon and knows what I mean. Which I pretty much tell him his whole plan is to give Naruto and Sasuke the cursed mark, and pretty much after that to get out of there. But to send out the team to make it look more convincing. Which Orochimaru agrees, and I offer him a body that has all the genetic cells of all ninjas, including the first Hokage and second Hokage, and it's going to be immortal. So he's going to be a living immortal machine, which Orochimaru wouldn't refuse that deal, so he accepted it from him. Now, this is where I go back and meet up with Sasuke and Naruto, telling them that I had to take a leak because it's been a while, which Naruto makes a laughable face, saying, wow, you sure have a flatter, which Sasuke says, sometimes I wonder, should I actually get trained by you or not get trained by you? Which Naruto's about to get mad until I tell them to both calm down. Sasuke has a point. This is not a time to be playing around. Now, this is where we start going and stuff. And we already got the scroll. This is where Naruto has to take a leak as a cannon and gets attacked by the snake and fight. Well, this is where Orochimaru comes in and start having a fight. This is where I start fighting with Orochimaru stuff, giving him the hands and kicks and stuff, not going all serious stuff, but I'm making it look weird. This is where Sasuke added his assistants to show his power, shoot 2 fireballs at Orochimaru. This is where I kick Orochimaru back to the tree, which I use the wiring technique, and pretty much we both team together and take out Orochimaru, which Sasuke thinks we took out, but I know the real plan. This is where Orochimaru jumps out and bites Sasuke in the neck, which Naruto gets mad and about to activate his thing until I'm about to run in and get Orochimaru. So Orochimaru kicks me to the tree and knocks me out, which I act like it, and Naruto gets the Steel Titan and he gets bit in the neck too. Now, friend Ken, I know in the original, if Naruto got the curse mark, Kurama would just destroy the seal, but this time Kurama's a little bit different because I put Kurama under a Genjutsu, so Naruto can tap in Kurama's chakra, but Kurama won't know because he's pretty much under a Genjutsu, under Naruto's will until Naruto comes in and meets him. So Naruto can still use the Naruto Jinchuriki chakra, but and his chakra won't be really messed with because Kurama's under Genjutsu and he has specific orders of what to do and what not to do. So yeah. So after that, this is where Naruto falls to the ground. I wake back up, pretty much smiling because everything is going in plan. And I pretty much grab both of them and start going. Now as I'm going, I pretty much go to a secret spot and pretty much is waiting for them to wake up. This is where I start to cook food and start to think what is the next plan. Now as I'm doing that, this is where I start to meditate and start to think, this is going to be crazy. Which, as I'm thinking about that, we switch back to adult Keyshawn. Now this is adult Keyshawn. Pretty much is going to the Hidden Stone Village. Well, no, to the Hidden Sand Village, and pretty much talking to Gara and them, and pretty much having well, not Gara and them, pretty much talking to the one of the second in command, so talking to him and saying, I was asking, can I just get a certain get this style of learning how to use puppets, which they're pretty much saying, yeah, and they show the instructor who can teach me, which I pretty much say, can I learn? Which he agrees upon, and he starts teaching me. This is where I get in weeds. It begins to tell him that I know a better way, which I pretty much wrap the string around my fingers and my legs, and I pretty much say, you ready for this? And I pretty much get into a stance, which the puppet begins to move on its own, and I begin to think, say, yeah. So I call this second technique is fate seal, as this is where you and the puppet will be pretty much become as one, as the puppet can move on his own without needing string, and you can move on your use fire style jutsus, kind of as your second person. It's kind of like a copycat thing, which this is where the guy is impressed and says that this technique is amazing, which this is where I tell him that he needs to teach someone this one day, and pretty much I let him have that technique, and I pretty much go. And I tell him to not tell no one who is my name, which he agrees upon and begins to let me go off. Now, this is where, of course, I go to the I forgot the Samurai Nation, but I went to that nation. I begins to talk to a guy to make a certain weapon for someone, which this is where a guy looks at me and begins to think and says, so you want me to make these two weapons? Which I begin to say, yeah, would you mind? Which he begins to say, alright, and he makes his two weapons for me. I say, alright. And I teleport the weapons to Kid Version Me, and I begins to hand him into scrolls. And I put the scrolls in the back of my pocket, which I have back pockets. I mean back, patches. Back package pouches, and I begins to continue to go. Now, this is where the same ninjas will come and attack to try to get Sasuke and Naruto, a little bit different this time, which I begins to get up and have a fight with them. Now, this is where Sasuke wakes up and Naruto wakes up and begins to absolutely beat the shit out of the two boys. Sasuke breaking his arms, while the other guy gets his neck snapped by Naruto, by pure rage. This is where the girl is terrified, and she pees her pants as she goes off running. This is where I thanks both of them, and they ask if I'm alright, and I say yeah, which they begin to smile. Now, this is where they don't know what the hell is that. When the next time I begin to explain to them that it's a cursed mark, and that Orochimaru did to both of them, which they agree upon, and they agree not to tell Kakashi about it. Now, this is where I start to, this is where we start to go to the test, and everything happens the same, except for the Neji fight. Since Hinata's not there, she's at the Hidden Cloud because I gave them to her, and also another person, which I don't know about. But pretty much, which y'all all don't care for, but y'all know who I'm talking about. And pretty much, this is where Neji will be fighting someone else. So yeah, um, but yeah, everything goes the same, but not exactly the same because Neji can't fight Hinata. So yeah, let's just go. I say I'll say Naruto. Yeah, pretty much yeah. This is where we go to the next the 2 months training arc probably 2 weeks 2 months I say 2 months, but pretty much this is where Sasuke and Naruto's about to train with me, which I tell Sasuke to train with Kakashi because Kakashi can help you pretty much learn techniques, and he since he doesn't have the Sharingan, I'm gonna say I tell Sasuke since he doesn't have the Sharingan, he can still teach you techniques and stuff. And if he doesn't have the Sharingan, which this is where Sasuke goes to Kakashi, and Kakashi will teach him how to do the Chidori and stuff, but it's just gonna be a little bit tougher because he doesn't have the Sharingan. Now, this is where I take Naruto and tell him that we're gonna meet someone named Jiraiya, which Naruto says who's Jiraiya. I pretty much explain to him that his godfather, and he says, how do I know that if that's his godfather? Which I pretty much tell him that I know all the secret research in the leaf. So yeah, which Naruto's saying, wow, amazing. And we pretty much go and get to Jiraiya. Now this is where me and Jiraiya will this is where me and Jiraiya will meet up, and Jiraiya says, Kishan, which I pretty much say, hey Jiraiya, hey Master Jiraiya, which this is where I talk to Jiraiya and say I brought his godson to pretty much get training, which Jiraiya pretty much says you told him about the secret, which I told him that I told Naruto about everything, which Jiraiya begins to freak out, which I tell him to calm down. I didn't really do it, which this is where Naruto begins to start getting his training. Now, of course, I have my clones to create a circle barrier where Naruto can do 10 times training. So the circular barrier is basically like a training mode, like kind of like a gravity times thing, but the gravity times is like 1,000. 1,000. And I know what you're thinking. Naruto can't handle 1,000 gravity training. He barely wouldn't get up. Well, luckily I've been training Naruto and Sasuke to do the 10,000. So Naruto is right now at 2,000. So his no 3,000. So his strength is pretty fucking crazy. But he's keep going up because he wants to get stronger to you could say defeat or kill a certain someone. This is where this is where Naruto begins to start doing the Rasengan training at the same time of doing the gravity thing, which his jutsus will get stronger with him, and his techniques to learn things will be quicker and faster because he's doing that training. I should have told you that. But pretty much after that, Naruto is practicing doing the Rasengan, and he's mastering it like pretty fast. He's learning it pretty fast and mastering it much quicker. And this is where Naruto thinks that he does it with one hand, begins to form the Rasengan, which Jiraiya is impressed. Now, if you're asking, wait, did Naruto also pass the toe thing? Yeah, he passed it with ease. So let's just go back. But pretty much Naruto is past doing the Rasengan with one hand, and Jiraiya is impressed that this Naruto is quite a prodigy at learning his techniques and again and showing his chakra control is pretty good. Now this is where I tell Jiraiya that he should be able to learn this technique, the flying Raijin, which Naruto looks and says, "What is the flying Raijin?" Which Jiraiya is saying, "No, that was his father's," and I don't think Naruto is ready for it yet. Which this is where Naruto saying my father, which I explained to Naruto that he should have the right to learn the flying Raijin, which Jiraiya is thinking that Naruto's not ready yet, which I pretty much gives him a smile and says he can do it, which Jiraiya says if he says so. Now, this is where Naruto begins to start learning the flying Raijin steps, and he gets the first and the second one correct, but the third one is pretty hard of how to really do it. This is where he does the training with the gravity circle, and he's getting it pretty well. this is where Jiraiya noticed that Naruto has a curse mark, because I'm gonna say Naruto took off his shirt to do the gravity thing, and he begins to see what's on Naruto's side of his neck, and he says, "Is that Orochimaru's curse mark?" Which I begin to tell Jiraiya what happened. And Jiraiya saying Orochimaru got attacking me, which I begin to tell him, yeah. Now this is where Jiraiya begins to see curse mark still, and Jiraiya says, "Have they been messing with you or anything?" Which Naruto says, "No, I haven't really did anything." Which Jiraiya saying, "All right, make sure to keep an eye on him, Keyshawn." Which I tell him okay, and we pretty much goes to the hotel while Jiraiya does his secret research. Now this is where I'm talking to Naruto and telling him, "Listen, Naruto, it'll be one day I'm gonna be gone. It'll be one day something will change. You'll become stronger, and I'll not be here anymore. But I do have faith for you to defeat that certain person you want to defeat, which we all know it's me." It's Naruto clenches fist and says, "Yeah, I'll be ready." Now, this is where we get a knock on the door, and Naruto begins to open it. And as he opens it, this is where a new team is formed. Um, this is Itachi and I'll say Itachi and Deidara, because although Deidara don't like Itachi because he got defeated by a fucking Sharingan user, which he should not feel butthurt about, because no one's not gonna be a Sharingan user. Sometimes they're just too dangerous. But anyways, let's continue. Pretty much this is where Deidara is waiting at the door saying, "So," which Itachi looks down with his Sharingan saying, "Naruto Uzumaki, you're coming with us." Which Naruto looks and begins to say, "Who are y'all?" Which this is where Itachi says he's a part of the Akatsuki. Now, this is where I come at the door, pretty much saying, "Who is these guys?" Which this is where Itachi immediately can like see the same face that he had to fight long ago. Well, I'll say a month, like I think a month ago, a couple months ago. Which this is where Itachi immediately starts pissing his pants, saying, "It's you." Which this is where Deidara saying, "What? You just piss your pants? What the?" Which this is where I awaken my Mugekyo, my Rinnegan Sharingan eyes, kind of like those, and I begin to say, "So, you really thought y'all can come and mess with my work?" Which I pretty much stopped time. Which this is where no one, like Naruto's affected by it, but except for Itachi and Deidara. This is where I pretty much grab both of them by their hair, and they pretty much can't do anything about it. Deidara saying, "Let go, you little shit," which I begin to say, "Fall," and I throw him up and I say, "Push," and I pretty much push him out the building. Which Itachi can't do anything, and he gets his footing and begins to activate his Susanoo. This is where I jump down and I say, "You really think I can do something about this?" Which Deidara begins to activate his jutsus and prepare his clay. Which I begin to chop off Deidara's arms. Which Deidara say, "Ah," and fall on the ground saying, "Ah, my arms." Which this is where I use the universe ball and pull Itachi close to me and hold his neck. This is where I smile and says, "Itachi, how many times I told you this before to not interfere? Do y'all want me to come after y'all and kill every single last one of y'all?" Which Deidara is still on the ground with his arm and losing blood. And Deidara pretty much is like, "When I'm gonna detonate on you." Which he begins to try to do the detonation, which he can't do it. He's trying to figure out why he can't do it. Which I begin to smile and says, "Oh, did you know I can nullify your jutsus or take away a jutsu you have?" "Yeah, you can't do nothing, Deidara." Which Deidara is pretty much shocked and dumbfounded. This is where I grab Itachi, bring him closer, and whisper and say, "You have one more chance. They'll blow it." Which I throw him on the ground, and I pretty much grab Deidara and I pretty much rip out both his eyes, which he begins to start screaming. This is where I knock him out with a karate chop in the head, and replace his eyes with some new eyes, Sharingan eyes. Turn his hair into black. Starts taking out his DNA and repairing the other DNA with Uchiha DNA, and repair his hands with the mouse on him, and begins to tell Itachi to pick him up and take him out of here and start training him if they want to defeat him. Which I begin to smile and says, "Bye bye." And I snap my finger and return time back to him. This is where Naruto looks around and say, where'd they go? Which I begin to say, I don't know, but let's go. I don't know what you're talking about, but let's go. Which we go back in the room. Now, as we go back in the room, this is where Jiraiya comes in, and Sasuke is there because he just came to see Naruto and see if he's alright, which he's alright. And this is where me and Naruto and Sasuke begins to start doing a little hint, some chakra control training with meditation, and Jiraiya comes in and says, "Oh, who's this?" Which this is where, well, no, Jiraiya already knows who Sasuke is, but he starts talking to all of us, and pretty much Naruto thinks Jiraiya, and they start going. Now, as we're all going back, this is where the final training exam comes in, and pretty much everything was the same, including Naruto fight, but the fight between Naruto and Neji is different because Naruto pretty much just clapped Neji with finesse and style because he knows how to do the fire rising, and he pretty much just sent one of his clones out to touch Neji, and when Neji pretty much did the Rasengan circle, Naruto formed a Rasengan in his one hand and teleport and charged at him and sent him flying, pretty much hitting him in the wall and knocking him out. So yeah, that's how Naruto went. Now, the fight between the fight between Sasuke and Gaara is much different. As Sasuke has the 3 Tomoe Sharingan, after do with all that how can I say post trauma? As when I put Sasuke in that Gen Jutsu to put him in a coma, he was actually training in that coma. As every time he watched his family die, he had a quick second to up his speed and to use techniques and stuff to stop the killing of his family. I'm gonna say only one time he did it, but he failed half miserably. So as he was in that coma, he kept getting better and better until he eventually saved his family from getting slaughtered. And so yeah, Sasuke is pretty more edgy and dangerous now. So when so the fight between Gaara and Sasuke immediately does the hand steals and fired 3 fireball jutsus at Gaara. This is where Gaara begins to use his sand to block the attacks, but realizes his sand turned into glass. This is where Sasuke begins to appear right behind Gaara, which Gaara looks right behind him with shock, which Sasuke kicks the shit out of him and fires another fireball at him while he hits the glass, and which Gaara pretty much get hit by the fireball and pretty much his sand armor is broken. This is where Gaara will pretty much appear right behind Gaara and pretty much does a tornado kick, slam down to the ground. It kicks Gaara down to the face, to the ground. Yeah, to the face, to the ground. And Sasuke jumps up and fires the fireball, pretty much hitting Gaara. Now, Sasuke pretty much about to end it because he knows Gaara is not done yet, which Gaara is getting up and getting more pissed off and angry. This is where Sasuke charges at Gaara and hits him with a Rasengan. No, not Rasengan, with a Chidori. A massive, dangerous Chidori, which this is where Gaara freaks out and the whole stand and attack happens again. Now, this is where pretty much Sasuke chase after Gaara while Gaara runs out, and the whole attack is happening everywhere, which Naruto doesn't get affected by and starts following Sasuke to help him out. This is where I tell one of my subjects to come, note Zero to come, which Zero pretty much says, "Yes, master," and it's a girl, which I pretty much tell her to when Orochimaru activate the seal to revive Madara and Orochimaru, take both of their DNAs, which she pretty much agrees, nods her head and starts to head off, which I pretty much chase after Sasuke and Naruto. Now, as I'm chasing after Sasuke and Naruto, I pretty much see that Naruto and Sasuke is having a fight with Gaara until Gaara freaks out and turns into a full Shikaku. this is where I charges at. This is where I charge at Gaara to stop him, which he grows in size now. This is where Naruto summons the. I'm gonna say this is where Naruto doesn't think, and he hears in his voice to summon him and release him, which this is where Naruto puts his hand on the ground and does the seal, and he releases the Nine Tails. Now, this is where the Nine Tails is about to fight with Shikaku, which Shikaku is saying, Kurama, so you're out and you're here to fight me, which Kurama pretty much yells out and says, brother, you know I'm the strongest out of all of y'all. Now prepare to fall, which this is where Shikaku and the Nine Tails Jinchuriki is having a fight. Now, as they're fighting, this is where I'll say Shikaku is shooting his air bullets or his air palm things at Kurama, and Kurama is pretty much just dodging the attacks and stuff. And he shoots a tail beast bomb at Shikaku. Now Shikaku gets hit by it pretty badly and takes a lot of damage. This is where I tell Naruto I'm gonna launch him, and he pretty much get to Gaara and pretty much wake him up. Which this is where Naruto agrees upon, and I throw him a little bit far in the middle, which I say, damn it, it's not enough. Which Naruto throws his kunai at Gaara's hand, and pretty much teleports to it. This is where Naruto hits butt Gaara and pretty much wakes him back up, which Gaara hits the ground and tired. This is where I take Shikaku and I extract him and pretty much put him in Sasuke. I put Shikaku in Sasuke, which this is where Sasuke sees the seal and asks me what I did, which I pretty much tell Sasuke that I gave him the first tail beast, Jinchuriki. I gave him Shikaku the first tail beast, which Sasuke pretty much tired and just passes out. Now, this is where Naruto does the same speech to Gaara, which Gaara is grateful, and since he doesn't have the one tail Jinchuriki anymore, and Sasuke has it, he doesn't have to really worry about anything. Now, after the whole fight, Lord Hiruzen dies. Orochimaru leaves. Orochimaru escapes, and everything happens as the same as over again. Now, after the whole funeral stuff, this is where Naruto is going home and pretty much is sitting on the couch thinking. This is where Haku pretty much sits on the couch with him and lays on his shoulder, asking if he's alright. Which Naruto pretty much saying no, he's not alright. And I should probably tell you, they're 13, so this is not really no kids stuff. They're 13. I forgot to tell you that. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Naruto is pretty much telling her it's alright, which she pretty much says, no, you're not okay. I can sense your sadness, which this is where she grabs his hand and pretty much kisses him, which Naruto kisses her back, and they have you could say a night. Now this is part 2 of What If I Was the Villain in Naruto. If you like, get this up to 30 likes, and I'll make another part. But I'm Kishon Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.